Welcome back to the Super Centex Podcast. Brice Cherry alongside Chad Conine and DJ Ramirez. Good to see y'all. Guys, let's jump into it. So one of the best feel-good stories to me of the Central Texas football season has been the resurgence of the University Trojans. Kent Laster has University at 2-0 in district play. You both have had a chance to see University play this year, DJ just last week. What impresses you most about the U-Dawgs, and is it sustainable in the long term?
I think it is. I think they're finding ways to win. I saw a lot of just, whenever, and I don't know if this was just Pflugerville wasn't doing great that week, but eventually when they started responding, it didn't kind of like set University back. They weren't really fazed by it. Like if Pflugerville responded, University responded right back, and they were just finding ways. If it wasn't, Makai Sandoff running the ball, they weren't afraid to throw it to London Smith, and some of the other guys kind of got involved as well. And defensively, they looked pretty solid. I didn't see anything really defensively that I was just like taken aback by, So I think it's sustainable. I just compared to a lot of the, I guess noise that had been going around from years before. I feel like, I can't really compare it because I hadn't seen them play before this season.
Yeah.
When I saw this question on the script, I thought it was kind of interesting because the two times that I have seen University play, it was when they had games, more or less won or were looking like they were going to win the game and ended up losing them. And that was the season opener against Robinson. And then 2 weeks after that against Arlington Heights. So, but when you look at it like on a positive spin of that, they're 3-3. If they win those two games, which they were very close in both of them, they could be 5-1 right now, which is, a
little mind blowing.
Yeah. And I think, when you look at the comparison, maybe fair or unfair, when you look at the comparison between University, Midway, Waco High, all of which started with a new coach at the beginning of last season, University has taken the substantial lead on the other two in terms of rebuilding their program. And one of the things that makes me think about when you ask about sustainability, and this is unfair, and maybe Brice, you can sort of answer this, but does it seem like Waco ISD is in an either or situation? Like either Waco High or University are going to be good because kids are going to funnel to one or the other. And especially if Laster shows that he really has a program going and a culture going there.
It's a good question. I don't think it's easy to answer. I think that almost requires additional research. Obviously, so much of Waco ISD and which team is going to be good centers back to, which middle school might have the most athletes, or, because the different middle schools feed different schools. And, is it sustainable? I think Laster's a smart guy and a good coach. And here's why it could be sustainable is you got one of your best players who's a freshman. London Smith, he's going to be there for 4 years. And I saw just this week that he picked up his second Division I offer as a freshman. Now, granted, it was Baylor, where he's kind of a legacy kid. But that's still pretty impressive for a freshman to already be picking up D1 offers, especially at University. And DJ mentioned the noise, so to speak. The more they win, the more they'll kind of silence a lot of that noise. So they're trending in the right direction. So, and Astros just hit a home run, so that's good also.
Speaking of trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
No, but you can really see like the potential for University to build a culture there, and I've talked with Laster enough to know that, if he's there and if he keeps gaining momentum, he could definitely be the guy to do it.
Yeah. Well, we can't go more than one question without digging into our game of the week. DJ will be at this one this week. It's China Spring-La Vega week. This is arguably the best rivalry in Central Texas, at least in the 21st century. And we kind of all know the old cliche about rivalry games. Clearly, China Spring is the favorite in this game. They're ranked second in the state with good reason. Defending state champions, have continued to play well. But La Vega building up a little bit of momentum. Pirates riding a 3-game winning streak in which they have only allowed 21 points in those 3 games. How do you guys see this one playing out?
Oof.
Oof.
Oh man, I don't like answering these kinds of questions because
Because it puts you on the spot.
It puts me on the spot. It's like it's just it's tough to say that La Vega can't beat China Spring because they can.
Sure.
Especially, they did have a rough go at it early in the season. They're kind of battling some injuries. I was on the phone with Coach Hyde for a minute and a half this morning, which is most people get, I guess.
Yeah, you count that, you bank that 90 seconds.
But I think they're also trending in the right direction. I think they're going to give the Cougars a fight. And I mean, that's not to say that, China Spring isn't, I mean, I feel like at this point, every time somebody asks me about China Spring, I'm just like, they're China Spring. They're
clicking along. Yeah.
Yeah. Just the fact that it doesn't seem like they've missed a beat. They've had, maybe an off game or two. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards China Spring just because, they've kind of convinced me that there are very few things that can go wrong with that team. So
I'm going to do more than lean. Okay. I got a little insider scoop that I won't reveal the source. I won't reveal what the scoop was because I don't want to out this person, right? But I'm just going to come out and say, if La Vega wins this game, it will contradict everything I know about high school football trends and the way these two teams are playing this season. China Spring is on track to maybe, challenge for a state title. I think they'll win this game, and I think they'll beat Stephenville. And I mean, who knows how far they might go. I think they've got everything going for them. La Vega, on the other hand, is fighting like heck to try to get back to where they have been as a program, and they're not quite there yet.
Okay, interesting. That was very cryptic.
I mean, all due respect to La Vega and Coach Hyde and everybody over there, and their program, puts in the work as much or more than any other program around here, but they're just not there right now with China Spring.
It's going to be an interesting game. I don't necessarily disagree with you, Chad, but at the same time, it's China La Vega. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit like La Vega Conley, that kind of matchup in terms of just arch rivals, and they're going to get up for each other. And to DJ's point earlier about the U-Dawgs being resilient, I feel like La Vega is resilient, so, even if they fall behind in this one, now, if they do fall behind, I don't think La Vega is always built as, the passing team. I think Robert Prescott's a pretty good quarterback, but at the same time, their game has always been built around running the ball, playing defense. So it probably would help them out to, maybe get an early touchdown and then, show China Spring they're going to be in there for the long 4-quarter haul. So we'll see. We'll see. It sounds like we're all leaning toward China Spring, but this is why they play the games. So the most competitive district in our area, at least in my opinion, might be the one living in the Stone Age. You like that cheesiness, Chad? Look at Chad. This is the Freestone Limestone County district that includes Fairfield, Teague, Mexia, and Groesbeck. 2 of those in Freestone County, 2 of those in Limestone County. DJ, you're going to be writing about this in the high school notebook this week, but obviously they're very competitive and they all have rivalries within within each other. So Malakoff looks like the best team in that district. They look like the number 1 seed. And Eustace and Kemp on the bottom end have looked like the cellar dwellers. They're 0-5 combined in the district. So that leaves the other 4 fighting for 3 spots. Which of our Centex schools out of that group, Groesbeck, Mexia, Fairfield, Teague, which joins Malakoff in the playoffs? So who's the odd team out, basically, is the easier way to answer that question. Start with you, Chad.
I'd say it's Fairfield if they don't beat Mexia. I mean, right now I feel like it's Fairfield. That 1-point loss at Mexia hurt them. Now it could come down to the Teague Fairfield winner gets in.
Yes, so I did just look ahead right before the podcast. Week 11, last week of the regular season, Teague at Fairfield. I'm with you, Chad. I feel like that's what it's going to come down to for probably the 4th place playoff spot. What do you say?
Well, I mean, if Teague beats Mexia, it might already, well,
it could happen.
Mexia game is important too.
It could happen. It could happen. What do you say, DJ?
Oh, I just spent the whole day talking to all these coaches. So I know for sure Groesbeck's going to be in it. It's hard to not favor them, and they're 5-1. If their quarterback hadn't gotten injured early in the season, I think coach said it was like 3 games in, that they might be undefeated. Who knows? And
they've bounced back from that nicely. It's been impressive what they've done without Alan Lewis.
Yeah, no, they've done really, really well even without him. And I mean, Chris Cox kind of picked up a lot of the heavy lifting at running back, just because you're not, I guess, passing the ball as much with a younger quarterback. But I think, it might come down to Teague and Fairfield, unless Mexia doesn't take care of business. But I think Mexia can take care of business. They had a really tough non-district schedule, and so now coming in, I mean, that Groesbeck game, they were in the thick of it. It's kind of uncanny just how similar that game was to their win over Fairfield. Like it was pretty much the same. Maybe like the overtime, they go for version, they're leading, and then Fairfield comes back, which is similar to what happened at the Groesbeck game with them. Groesbeck was leading, Mexia came back, and then the coach just kind of went for 2 in overtime in order to take the win by a point. And that was, talking to these coaches all day, that was kind of like the big thing, is that they're all very similar teams. They're all very and so that's, I guess, why it's very competitive, is they're all kind of in the same boat, in the same area, which is kind of, and one of the reasons why, the history of the rivalry is so big is that everybody kind of knows each other in that area. So,
that's fun for sure. They like each other to a point, but they all definitely want to beat each other for sure. I think we lost her. She had 10, she had 10% battery. It sounded like she had a good point coming. I guess we'll wrap it up, Chad.
Well, we could do this last. I got something teed up for this last question.
All right. So the last question, I did want to hear DJ's response to it, but So it's homecoming time in Central Texas, in the state, really. You get a lot of homecoming games.
Mid-October.
Yeah, mid-October. It's that time of year, which means that the moms are out in force. Those ridiculously oversized flowers that take up an entire dress.
I think anybody watching this podcast knows what a mom is.
Sure.
All right.
So it's become a little bit of a can you top this kind of Texas tradition. What is your take on the mom? Are you pro-mom, anti-mom, or mom indifferent?
Well, it's not like, mom, it's like not like I see a kid wearing a mom. Usually, this as a sports writer, you walk into a high school game, you're doing your usual Friday night business. And it used to be worse like back in the day because they've gotten a little bit better at organizing things, I feel like, over the years. But back in the day, you'd walk into a high school game, you saw a mom, and you go, oh man, halftime just went from 28 minutes to 45 minutes.
Right.
And you'd be like, how many homecoming games do I have to go to this year? Right. Yeah. You go to like 3 or 4 in a row or something. So like, it's not really that way anymore, but here's what I will say on this topic. Right. And this gets back to my like tendency to be like a grumpy old man and have good old days syndrome, because, there was a time when, like, if you went out to eat downtown at a steakhouse, you would put on at least a button-down shirt, and comb your hair and everything. Or you might even put on slacks and a sport coat or something like that. And you go eat steak and everybody there is dressed similarly, Now you go to Diamondbacks on a Friday or Saturday night and some schmo is wearing like gym shorts and a t-shirt and a hat on backwards and Crocs, And you go to a homecoming football game and, there's some girl wearing a t-shirt and jean shorts with a mom pinned to her shirt. It's like, it doesn't work. It doesn't fit together, like whatever happened to I'm not gonna like,
they need to dress it up is what you're saying.
Yeah. And I am the crotchety old man because those days are gone. If they weren't gone already, COVID killed them. COVID turned everything into 24/7 pajama time.
All COVID's fault. Thanks, COVID.
Well, I think it did. I think for 6 months, nobody ever got out of their pajamas and they said, I'm never coming out of my pajamas again.
Chad, instead of saying thanks, Obama is saying thanks, Corona. So I would say generally I'm more mom indifferent. I don't really have a strong opinion one way or the other. I do think some of them are, it's gotten a little ridiculous, staggering, just how big some of them are. I saw one at, I think, China Spring, maybe a picture I saw that would have been bigger than a girl. I mean, I don't know how she would have worn it.
I just seen there were like 3 flowers put together on a thing, or
it was just like a picture of, it looked like, I hate to put it like this, but you know how when you go to a funeral, you'll see like a big flower stand, it looked like that. And I was like, nobody can wear that, I was sitting here with the game on in the background watching an infield shift and trying to figure out if I could make an analogy between an infield shift and the moms. But
Lord, I don't think the internet is ready for that.
But I think I can in this regard.
Here we go. We're gonna try.
Yeah, well, it's part of the game. Some people like it, some people don't. It's actually this is where it is different. It's leaving the game. Major leagues next year, they're banning the infield shift. But I'm sort of indifferent about both, really. For one, they played baseball 100 and something years, and why change the rules now just because guys can't hit to all fields? I don't know. So as far as the moms go, I'm fine with it. Maybe just keep them within reason. They don't have to be quite so ridiculous. I know everything is bigger in Texas, but anyway,
Hey, why don't they dress NFL quarterbacks in mums like all around their head and neck area so that they're not in such danger all the time?
Right. Meanwhile, mum's the word from DJ.
She's been texting me trying to get back in.
Yeah,
but
she texted at both of us trying to get back in, but we'll just let her.
we're not trying to exclude her. We're just on a roll.
Yeah, well, and it's recording and whatever. So we'll catch up with DJ's mom thoughts next week and enjoy your game. You're going to Rosebud Lot and Bosque.
At Bosqueville. Yep. Sounds
Okay.
good.
I think that should be a good one. All right. See ya.
All right. Bye.